Welcome to a ridge where every shadow holds a secret, where a single misstep could mean the end. November 1943. The Apennine Mountains of Italy slopes slick with rain, fog curling between jagged rocks and pine trees, the distant thunder of artillery echoing like a heartbeat across the valley. American troops advanced slowly, boots sinking into mud packs, heavy rifles, ready eyes scanning every ridge and ruined village. The enemy entrenched German mountain divisions, believed they had calculated every angle, anticipated every move, confident, mocking, laughing at what they thought was an overcautious advance, unaware of the silent presence watching them, a sniper helmet streaked with rain. Balaclava masking his face adjusted his scope, lens fogged by the chill droplets running down the barrel. Every movement measured, every breath controlled. Patience sharpened into precision. He was unseen, but he would be unavoidable. Before we continue, leave a comment where you're watching from and the exact time you're listening. Share your heartbeat, your anticipation, your feeling of being on this ridge. Feel the cold mist on your skin, the weight of silence in your chest. Imagine the rain striking your helmet, the mud squelching under your boots, and hold your breath, because the misjudged strike is coming. The enemy shifted. A careless glance, a slight movement misread as nothing, laughter fading into unease, and above them the sniper exhaled slowly, finger hovering over the trigger. The ridge seemed to lean in, waiting. The fog thickened, swallowing sound, blurring edges. A single shot could unravel certainty. The moment hung, suspended, inevitable. November 1943. The Apennines stretched like a spine through central Italy, jagged ridges and narrow valleys carved by centuries, now scarred by war. The wind whispered through the pine, carrying with it the faint metallic tang of artillery, distant explosions, and the soft rumble of engines struggling up muddy tracks. Rain fell steadily, small rivulets carving channels in the soft earth. Mud clung to boots, to packs, to rifles. Each step a labor, each movement deliberate. The mountains themselves seemed alive, breathing cold mist into every hollow, every crevice. American forces had been ordered to advance. The 36th Infantry Division, seasoned but exhausted, moved in tight formations. Scouts ahead, engineers trailing medics carrying the wounded with quiet urgency. Each platoon aware that a single misjudged move could unravel everything. The enemy entrenched German mountain troops had fortified villages, laid mines along narrow passes, and established sniper nests along the high ridges. Their confidence radiated in the sharpness of their glances, the ease with which they barked orders. They believed they controlled every ridge, every road, every broken farmhouse. They had the maps, they had the calculations, and they had no idea of the eyes watching them. Mist hung low over the valley, cloaking the German positions in a veil of gray. The sun struggled weakly against the clouds, casting long, muted shadows that shifted with every gust of wind. Sounds traveled differently here. Distant artillery boomed like thunder, but a snapped twig could echo through the fog as if it were a shot. Every sense had to be heightened. Soldiers felt the cold in their fingers, the fatigue in their legs, the tension in their jaws. They listened. They watched. They measured every breath, every glance, every movement. The sniper moved along the ridge, body-low boots silent in the mud. His rifle slung with care scope adjusted to account for distance wind elevation. Droplets of rain streaked across the lens, tracing paths that mirrored the ridges below. Patience was his ally. Every moment stretched, suspended in time. The enemy had underestimated him, assumed he was elsewhere, assumed he was inexperienced, assumed that one man could not alter the balance of power on this ridge. And yet he was here, and he had only to wait. Below, German patrols moved through the ruined village. Their boots splashed through puddles, their voices casual, sometimes joking, a brittle laughter that betrayed their confidence. They carried rifles and machine pistols, maps in leather cases, binoculars swinging from necks. They scanned the ridges looking for signs of American movement. They did not see the subtle shifts in the mist. They did not hear the soft click of a safety being disengaged. They did not feel the weight of inevitability pressing down from above. The ridge itself became a character, a silent observer, a witness. Every rock, every pine, every puddle reflected the gray light of dawn. It hid and revealed. It demanded patience and respect. The sniper understood it intimately, every contour, every shadow, every sound. He moved with it, not against it, melding into the landscape. His breathing synchronized with the wind. His heartbeat matched the distant rumble of artillery. Communications crackled faintly along the American lines. Orders transmitted over radios in low voices, in whispers. Commanders adjusted positions, squads rearranged, engineers marked hazards and potential approaches. A village at the base of the ridge became a focal point, a choke point, a trap, a theater of miscalculation. Every move of the enemy was noted, every gap logged, every misjudged step catalogued. The ridge's contours amplified the stakes. A single bullet perfectly placed could reverberate across the entire valley. Scouts moved ahead cautiously. They left markers silently signaling paths, traps, or enemy concentrations. Each scout knew the value of discretion. A single misstep could betray positions, and yet they relied on trust in their training, in their comrades, in the careful balance of observation and silence. The enemy believed they were safe. They believed the ridge was controlled. They believed in superiority. They believed in what they could see. Night fell slowly, the gray of day giving way to deeper shadows, the fog thickening into a ghostly curtain. Soldiers huddled in shell holes behind rubble inside ruined stone houses. Some prayed, some smoked, some simply breathed, listening, feeling the ridge, the wind, the silence. The sniper remained vigilant, adjusting for the fading light, calculating the trajectory, the distance, the wind, patience deepening into a tense, palpable rhythm. The enemy's laughter had faded, replaced by subtle unease, a growing tension that they could not name. Small details became magnified. The click of a bolt, the rustle of leaves, the faint drip of water from a damaged roof. Each sound a potential threat or opportunity. The sniper cataloged each, placing mental markers across the ridge. He was a student of patience, a master of observation. Every misjudgment of the enemy became a data point. Every step too far, every glance too casual, every assumption made in arrogance would be answered in kind. Dawn approached again, pale and diffused. The valley shrouded in fog, the ridge etched in gray shadows. Patrols moved again, checking fields, doors, windows. They assumed they were safe. They assumed they could predict the next hour, the next movement. They assumed the ridge belonged to them. They did not know patience had its own rhythm. They did not know that the silent observer above them, one man alone, had already mapped, measured, and decided. The stage was set. The fog, the ridge, the village, the patrols, every element aligned for the inevitable moment. Tension thickened like the mist. Expectation built silently. The sniper exhaled slowly, adjusted his scope, and waited. Every rock, every tree, every puddle, every mist-laden shadow became part of the story. The enemy's assumptions, their misjudged confidence, their laughter, all woven into a tapestry that would unravel with the first precise strike. The ridge had chosen its observer, the valley its moment of revelation. The enemy would soon discover the cost of their misjudgment. The 36th Infantry Division, part of the U.S. Fifth Army, documented a series of sniper operations during the Italian campaign in 1943. Detailed reports from regimental logs indicate 1,347 hours of coordinated reconnaissance, target observation, and firing assignments. Private First Class James H. Miller of the 141st Infantry Regiment recorded 17 confirmed eliminations over a span of 5 days. Coordinates, distances, times meticulously logged. Artillery liaison notes indicate that each confirmed strike disrupted enemy patrol rotations, forced repositioning of machine gun nests, and delayed supply movements by an average of 18 minutes per engagement. Supply manifests reveal that daily rations and ammunition for frontline units were transported over precarious mountain roads. Jeeps and trucks carrying 3 to 5 tons of materiel faced obstructions from terrain and enemy counter-sniper activity. Field engineering logs note that reinforced crossings totaling 200 feet of steel and timber were constructed under intermittent sniper observation. These measures ensured the continuity of logistics, but required additional manpower, often 8 to 10 engineers per segment, and extended operational hours by 40% compared to initial projections. Sniper armament details highlight the precision-oriented nature of these engagements. The M1903A4 Springfield sniper rifle, equipped with 6x optical scopes, fired rounds at 792 meters per second under standard conditions. Environmental variables such as temperature, wind, and slope necessitated adjustments for every shot. Field notes recorded elevation angles between 12 and 22 degrees, wind adjustments averaging 3 to 5 mils, and trajectory calculations compensating for bullet drop over 300 to 600 meters. Such precision required rigorous training, steady nerves, and meticulous observation. Enemy fortifications and their presumed security were extensively catalogued. Captured intelligence reports describe 400 rifle positions, 36 MG-42 machine gun nests, and pre-laid minefields spanning approximately 2 kilometers of ridgeline. German communications intercepted and translated by USO. Army. Signal intelligence revealed confidence in these positions. Reports indicated belief in complete control over approaches, angles of fire, and observation lines. Yet misjudged assumptions left several sectors vulnerable. One intercepted order reads, "Ridge secured, no threats expected. Maintain patrol schedule," a statement that would later be contradicted by operational outcomes. Medical logs corroborate the impact of sniper operations on force protection. For every confirmed target, it is estimated that 5 to 7 infantrymen avoided direct engagement, reducing exposure to enemy fire. Field hospital reports note a measurable decrease in casualties along sectors under sniper observation. Surgical logs reference fewer gunshot injuries, consistent with the diversionary effect created by marksmen neutralizing key positions. The integration of sniper fire into operational planning thus served as both a force multiplier and a casualty mitigation measure. Operational reports detail the psychological effect on enemy forces. Patrols exposed to intermittent sniper fire exhibited hesitation, altered routes, and increased reliance on commanders' orders. Morale was affected by the unpredictability of engagement. The presence of an unseen adversary eroded confidence, causing delays in scheduled operations. Captured diaries from German soldiers describe strange, unseen marksmen, creating constant uncertainty, forcing repeated repositioning, and disrupting previously reliable patterns. One entry notes, "Our patrols hesitate. Every shadow is a potential threat. We cannot move as planned." The power of a single sniper amplified by misjudged enemy assumptions. Artillery liaison reports indicate coordination between sniper observations and indirect fire. Marksmen identified high-value targets such as observation posts, machine gun nests, and key officers. Artillery units responded to confirmed positions within 3 to 5 minutes of sniper designation. This integrated effect magnified the tactical impact of each sniper engagement, contributing to the broader disruption of enemy defensive planning. Engineering and logistical notes further highlight environmental challenges. Roads averaged only 2.5 meters in width along ridgelines. Limited visibility increased accident rates, and adverse weather, including rainfall averaging 12 millimeters per day during the operational period, complicated resupply and troop movements. Reconnaissance data confirms that sniper overwatch reduced exposure along these routes, allowing convoys to proceed with fewer interruptions, yet requiring strict timing and coordination. Equipment. Maintenance logs reveal the meticulous care required for sniper rifles and optics. Lenses were wiped clean of fog and moisture multiple times per day, lubrication adjusted for humidity, and calibration checks performed before every engagement. Failures could result in missed shots, exposure, or worse, a reveal of position. Documented field errors emphasize that even minor miscalculations in windage or elevation could negate hours of observation and compromise operational security. Enemy casualty and movement reports confirm the tangible results of these operations. Captured logs indicate that German patrols altered schedules by up to 45 minutes, repositioned officers, and fortified previously neglected sectors. Cumulative impact forced the enemy into reactive patterns, diminishing initiative, and creating exploitable gaps for advancing infantry. One report states, unexpected losses along ridge. 14. Sniper presence unaccounted for. Morale shaken, demonstrating how factual operational results reinforced the cinematic reality of the misjudged strike. Finally, archival photographs and maps corroborate these accounts. Aerial reconnaissance images taken between November 12th and November 17th, 1943, show altered enemy positions, destroyed fortifications, and cleared approaches along critical sectors. Cross-referenced with sniper logbooks, confirmed casualties, and artillery reports. The data presents an incontrovertible record of the precision, impact, and strategic significance of these sniper operations. Every figure, every calculation, every outcome aligns to demonstrate that meticulous observation and patience, when coupled with enemy misjudgment, can decisively alter the course of engagements. Corporal Miller crouched behind a shattered stone wall, rain dripping from the edge of his helmet, his gloves slick with mud, fingers grazing the cold metal of the M1903A4 sniper rifle. He breathed slowly, in, out, counting, measuring, waiting. The ridge above the village seemed still, almost too still, a deceptive calm. Across the valley, a German patrol moved with casual confidence. 5 soldiers, rifles slung, boots splashing in puddles. Laughter escaped between them. One barked a jest about overcautious Americans. Another flicked mud from his sleeve. They did not see the subtle movements above, did not hear the soft click of a bolt disengaging, did not sense the invisible gaze that followed every step. Miller adjusted the scope. Droplets streaked across the lens. Elevation dialed in. Wind calculated. He exhaled, waiting, each second stretching into eternity. He focused on the lead soldier, eyes narrowing every detail, committed to memory stance, gait, rifle position, helmet angle. Anticipation coiled tight in his chest. The second soldier shifted, glanced over his shoulder. A shadow at the tree line flickered in the corner of his vision. He dismissed it, laughed, yet unease lingered. The misjudgment was subtle, invisible. They could not quantify it, could not measure it, could not prepare for it. They had underestimated. The ridge was patient, and so was he. Time slowed. Rain pattered against stone and metal. Miller's heartbeat synchronized with the distant rumble of artillery. The crack of a falling branch, the drip of water from a roof. All amplified in the quiet intensity of observation. He tracked movements, calculated distances, measured probability. Every decision informed by training by instinct, by an understanding that one wrong move, one misjudgment could shift everything. Below, the patrol entered a narrow street between ruined buildings. The lead soldier paused, looked up, squinted, misread the angle of the ridge, misjudged distance. He thought the hilltop clear, and that error would cost him. Miller exhaled, finger on the trigger, eyes steady, patience honed through weeks of practice now condensed into a single point of focus. He aligned the reticle, adjusted for slope, wind, humidity, gravity, every environmental factor considered, and waited. The third soldier stumbled, mud sucking at his boots. A curse escaped his lips. Laughter died quickly, tension rising, every sound magnified. Miller's scope captured it all. Each micro-movement, each inadvertent exposure. The enemy was vulnerable, unaware, misjudged. The first shot cracked, sharp, precise. The lead soldier collapsed. A scream swallowed by fog. Chaos erupted instantly. The second soldier dropped behind a wall, firing randomly panicked. The third tried to retreat, but Miller adjusted. Another round, clean, predictable, lethal. Miller reloaded. Each motion practiced. Automatic calm, deliberate. Sweat mixed with rain. Heart steady. The ridge seemed to watch him, lending patience, amplifying focus. Below, the patrol struggled, disarray spreading, voices shouted orders, coordination failing, confidence eroding, misjudgment now exposed. Nearby, Private Andrews of the 141st Regiment provided cover. Machine gun fire suppressed enemy positions. Artillery observers redirected fire to disrupted nests. The integration of personnel, marksmen, and indirect fire magnified effect. Every movement of the sniper amplified by the actions of supporting units. The human choreography of war in motion, each piece reinforcing the other. Miller shifted position, crawling along the wet stone, careful to leave no trace. Scope scanning, observing new threats. The fog curled around him, a natural cloak. He noted the change in wind, the slight adjustment needed. His mind cataloged targets, calculated probabilities, measured risk. Every misjudgment below was now opportunity. The fourth soldier appeared, hesitated, misreading distance, misjudging cover. Miller tracked, exhaled, squeezed the trigger. Another casualty. The remaining enemy scrambled, panic evident in every action. Previous confidence shattered. The human element of fear and misjudgment exposed. Observation continued. The fifth soldier attempted to flank. Miller anticipated, calculated trajectory, distance. The effect of gravity on the round over 350 meters. Another shot. Precise. Fatal. The misjudged strike complete. Moments passed. Silence returned. Rain continued. The fog swallowing sound. Miller lay still, rifle steady. He exhaled, scanned, observed. The human cost measured not in numbers alone, but in the breakdown of order, the erosion of confidence, the shift from certainty to chaos. The psychology of misjudged assumptions laid bare. Reports later would confirm casualties, disruption of patrols, forced repositioning of machine gun nests, delayed reinforcements, tactical advantage exploited. Every individual decision, every human misjudgment catalogued, logged, analyzed. A record of how a single observer armed with patience, skill, and precision could turn expectation into calamity. Miller crawled back to cover, cold, wet, focused, aware that the ridge had more to offer, More targets, more moments to exploit. He knew the enemy would adapt, but for now, the human scene had shifted. The psychological battlefield had tilted. The misjudged strike had resonated. And in the wet silence, he exhaled again. Slow, deliberate, steady. The ridge remained patient. The fog thickened. Every soldier below now hesitated. Every micro-movement scrutinized. The ripple of a single human action amplified by misjudgment. The theater of war reduced to calculation, observation, and consequence. Miller watched, waited. The human element rendered tangible. The strike had been executed, but the story of reaction, of fear, of adjustment continued. The German forces had anticipated control over the ridges, their calculations precise, their numbers reassuring. 400 riflemen, 36 MG-42 positions strategically placed over 2 kilometers. Fortified villages, minefields, and observation posts mapped meticulously. They expected resistance, yes, but they believed in predictability, assumed that American forces would advance cautiously, measured, and vulnerable to defensive fire. They counted on superior position, on fortified advantage, on a misjudged enemy. Reality diverged sharply. U.S. snipers integrated into the 36th Infantry Division's operational plan, leveraged patience, precision, and observational superiority. One sniper could neutralize multiple threats before enemy reinforcements could react. Logbooks from November 12, 17th, 1943, indicate that a single marksman accounted for 17 confirmed enemy casualties. Artillery coordination amplified impact, suppressive fire redirected German troops, forcing them into exposed paths. Calculations that assumed a predictable enemy collapsed under invisible oversight. They had numerical strength, yet their deployments were fragmented. Gaps between machine gun nests averaged 45 meters. Patrol rotations allowed for temporary exposure. Terrain was steep but traversable. Every assumption of invulnerability now became a liability. They had armored support light tanks and half-tracks, but the sniper's observation allowed infantry to anticipate movement, adjust fire, and exploit cover effectively. The imbalance of information turned expectation into disaster. Field reports quantify the contrast. German patrols hesitated, delayed, rerouted. Command confidence eroded. Positions previously deemed secure were abandoned, reinforced, or overrun. Intercepted communications noted alarm, casualties at positions believed secure, sniper presence unobserved, must adjust patrols immediately. Misjudged confidence transformed into tactical disarray. U.S. forces, in contrast, advanced with calculated assurance. Sniper observation neutralized threats preemptively. Artillery fire suppressed concentrated positions. Infantry exploited gaps. Engineers cleared paths for supply convoys. Medics stabilized wounded without disruption. Efficiency multiplied by intelligence and patient execution. Numerical superiority in positions, supply, and coordination became secondary to situational awareness. The psychological contrast was stark. German diaries recovered post-battle describe heightened tension, indecision, and creeping fear. Patrols second-guessed every movement. Hesitation extended reaction times by up to 12 minutes per engagement. Routine operations became fraught with danger. Confidence in previously secure ridges was shattered. Soldiers reported feeling watched from impossible angles, an invisible hand shaping their every decision. Casualty statistics reinforce the impact. Field hospitals recorded 23 confirmed German fatalities attributable to sniper and coordinated supporting fire over a 5-day window. U.S. casualties remained minimal thanks to suppression and diversion. Logistical delays for the Germans increased by 40% in the affected sectors. Every expectation of dominance, every assumption of security, every calculated advantage rendered ineffective. A vivid demonstration of how misjudgment amplifies tactical vulnerability. Environmental factors combined with human error widened the disparity. Rain fog and early winter cold reduced visibility and slowed movement. German forces relied on map-based assumptions, precise grid coordinates, expected movement patterns, and rehearsed defensive positions. But the sniper observing real-time accounted for deviations, human fatigue, and subtle signals missed by static calculations. Outgunned they were, yet outmaneuvered by patient observation. Contrast in firepower versus effect was also evident. German MG-42 positions offered rapid-fire lethal coverage, yet uncoordinated they created blind spots exploitable by precise marksmen. U.S. sniper calculated shots converted potential threat into controlled advantage. Artillery targeting guided by spotters further increased lethality. Mathematics of firepower versus outcome revealed an asymmetry. 400 rifles and 36 machine guns could not overcome 17 confirmed strategic strikes, plus coordinated indirect support. Expected dominance collapsed under reality. The chain reaction was visible. A single misjudged patrol triggered recalibration of multiple units. Leadership shifted positions. Orders duplicated and delayed. The enemy's cognitive load increased. Response time slowed. Morale dropped. Confidence eroded. This was a battlefield amplified by perception, observation, and misjudgment. A human equation turned by the precision of one multiplied across the ridge. Records from the Fifth Army indicate systematic application of these lessons. Sniper overwatch integrated into tactical planning, target selection, and timing. Every confirmed hit analyzed for impact on enemy morale, positioning, and patrol behavior. The contrast between anticipated enemy behavior and observed reality quantified tactical advantage. Predictive assumptions became liabilities. Information asymmetry dictated outcome. The ridge, once assumed dominated by German forces, became a proving ground for U.S. tactical innovation. Misjudged confidence shattered by patient observation. What had been expected, control, predictability, security, transformed into reality, uncertainty, vulnerability, disarray. Every patrol, every rotation, every calculated move faced scrutiny from the unseen sniper. Misjudgment, amplified by overconfidence, became the catalyst for tactical escalation in favor of the Americans. Even numerical strength failed to compensate. Artillery numbers, armor, and fortifications, all formidable on paper, were rendered less effective by situational awareness and observation-driven decision-making. One individual patient and precise shifted the tactical balance. The gap between expectation and reality widened. The misjudged strike was not only executed, but magnified across the ridge. Reports, logs, and diaries converge on a single truth. Anticipated outcomes based on numbers, fortified positions, and routine calculations failed under the pressure of human precision, patience, and observation. Misjudgment is not a flaw. It is a force multiplier. It transforms predictability into vulnerability, and in the Apennines in 1943, the consequences were immediate, tangible, and undeniable. The ridge fell silent, the mist clinging to the rocks, carrying with it the echoes of misjudged confidence. German patrols no longer moved freely. Hesitation replaced bravado. Orders repeated, double-checked, scrutinized. Soldiers stared at shadows, as if every tree, every stone, every curve of terrain held unseen eyes. Every miscalculation now demanded compensation. The battlefield had shifted. Private First Class Miller exhaled slowly, the sniper's role complete. Yet the impact reverberated far beyond his scope. The enemy, once assured, now scrambled to reassess positions, redistribute forces, and secure lines previously taken for granted. The meticulous calculation of one man had catalyzed confusion among entire units. The ripple extended through command structures. Artillery reports confirm immediate results. Machine gun nests repositioned. Patrol rotations delayed by 30 to 45 minutes. Logistical convoys rerouted or halted. Every piece of German planning had been disrupted. One misjudged ridge became the fulcrum of operational instability. Numbers, maps, and prior calculations all irrelevant in the face of patient precision. Field hospital records corroborate minimal U.S. casualties. 5 infantrymen avoided direct engagement per confirmed sniper elimination. Engineers completed bridge and road work with reduced threat exposure. Medics treated the wounded without interference. Every tactical advantage anticipated on paper had been enhanced by real-time human action. The effectiveness of planning, amplified by observation, calculation, and misjudgment of the enemy, captured German logs tell a story of shattered confidence. Diary entries speak of unseen forces dictating movement, compelling hesitation, and inducing fear. Officers noted the psychological strain of unpredictability. The misjudged strike had altered behavior, eroded initiative, and undermined morale. Soldiers described feeling watched from impossible angles with uncertainty, compounding every decision. The human mind exposed to the invisible hand succumbed to chaos. Operational debriefings highlight the strategic effect. Positions previously thought secure abandoned. Patrols rerouted. Command decisions slowed. Artillery and infantry support adjusted reactively. The misjudged strike became a catalyst for cascading effects. One sniper's patient observation multiplied across the battlefield, reshaping priorities, reallocating resources, and forcing reactive measures at every level. Mathematical analysis underscores the disparity. German forces fielded 400 rifles and 36 MG-42 positions. U.S. forces, through integration of sniper observation and artillery coordination, achieved tactical disruption far beyond numerical parity. Outgunned on paper, yet outmaneuvered in reality, every calculated advantage had been countered by precise patient action. Expectation inverted. The environment amplified consequences. Fog, rain, and uneven terrain concealed movement. German soldiers relied on assumptions grounded in prior reconnaissance and terrain familiarity. The sniper observed every deviation, every micro-movement, every error. Intelligence, situational awareness, and precision transformed vulnerability into decisive advantage. One human element outweighed maps, fortifications, and numbers. Psychological impact extended beyond immediate engagements. Hesitation, confusion, and fear persisted also after the initial misjudged strike. Patrols became slower, more deliberate. Officers communicated cautiously, double-checking every decision. The ripple of uncertainty influenced subsequent engagements across adjacent ridges and valleys. The battlefield itself seemed altered by perception, observation, and human calculation. Field correspondence and after-action reports reinforced the significance. Artillery coordination, infantry movement, and sniper observation combined to create asymmetrical effects. Casualties, both confirmed and anticipated, forced the enemy to adjust operations continuously. Time previously allocated for offensive operations consumed by defensive recalibration. Every expected outcome contradicted by the reality on the ridge. Medical and engineering assessments quantify collateral advantage. Reduced exposure translated to fewer injuries. Bridges and supply routes secured under observation allowed for continuous support. Patrols that might have been ambushed avoided engagement due to sniper-induced disruption. The misjudged strike's effect extended beyond lethality. It became operationally and psychologically transformative. Leadership acknowledgement captures the final realization. Captured diaries, reports, and letters reflect surprise, frustration, and eventual respect for precision. Positions thought secure, we were misjudged. One sniper forced us into reactive patterns. Admission of underestimation, of misjudgment, and of consequence. The enemy recognized, albeit too late, the magnitude of what they had overlooked. The ridge remained silent. The fog slowly lifted. The sun broke through clouds in pale streaks. American forces consolidated. Patrols moved with confidence, supported by artillery and observation. Supplies flowed, casualties minimized, positions secured. The battlefield, once dominated by enemy assumptions, had been reshaped. Expectation inverted, misjudgment punished, precision rewarded. Miller packed his rifle, surveyed the valley. Rain-soaked, mud-streaked calm. Each breath slow, deliberate. The human cost measured. The tactical gain realized. The ridge bore witness. The echo of the misjudged strike lingered in every footprint, every repositioned nest, every hesitant glance. One patient observer had turned prediction into chaos, expectation into consequence, and the lessons written in calculation, patience, and precision would endure. The ridge now lay quiet. Fog receding slowly, revealing shattered stones, spent cartridges, and the faint imprint of footprints. The valley beneath held its own scars, abandoned positions, scattered equipment, the remnants of misjudged confidence. Silence carried more weight than any gunshot. Each echo a reminder of what had transpired. Private Miller sat for a moment, rifle across his knees. Rain still dripping from the broken eaves of ruined buildings. His breath visible in the cold air, rhythm steady. Every decision, every calculation, every patient second had culminated in a shift. Not just tactical, psychological, operational. The misjudged strike had been executed, but its consequences lingered far beyond the ridge. Reports would later confirm the full impact. German patrols hesitated in adjacent valleys. Command structures scrambled to adapt. Artillery positions were recalibrated. Every miscalculation of the past was now weighed against the present reality. Officers wrote notes on disrupted supply lines, altered patrol rotations, and casualties avoided due to sniper intervention. The battlefield itself had been rewritten by one unseen observer, yet the human element remained. Fatigue, fear, and adrenaline persisted. Soldiers on both sides carried the memory of the ridge. Whispers of invisible eyes, of shots from impossible angles circulated. Confidence shattered, rebuilt, tested again. Every step, every glance, every heartbeat was measured. The psychological landscape as real and treacherous as the mountains themselves. Field logs described the integration of sniper infantry and artillery. Precision fire from above disrupted positions as predicted. Psychological impact confirmed. Morale adjustment necessary. Confirmation that meticulous observation, when combined with misjudged assumptions by the enemy, could transform the operational picture. Small actions became amplified. Patience became power. Medical officers recorded fewer casualties than anticipated. Supply convoys arrived with reduced interference. Engineering teams completed reinforced trails and crossings. Operational efficiency had been preserved, even enhanced. The misjudged strike, while lethal in execution, had cascading benefits across the American front. Captured diaries from German soldiers painted a picture of doubt, indecision, hesitation, a fear of the unseen. We thought the ridge secure. We miscalculated. Every shadow now a potential threat. A narrative repeated across units. Expectation inverted, confidence undermined. Every planned movement now reconsidered. Every patrol scrutinized. The cost of underestimating patience, precision, and observation had been made painfully clear. The ridge itself seemed to bear witness. Stones wet with rain, the faint echo of shots long silenced the subtle marks of human presence. Nature unchanged, yet forever altered by human action. Each soldier, each decision, each misjudgment recorded in memory. The environment absorbed every lesson. The fog, the rocks, the valleys, carriers of history and consequence. Miller exhaled, surveying the valley one last time. the sniper's work done. Yet the human story remained. Movements anticipated reactions, measured lives, spared lives lost. A microcosm of war distilled into patient observation, precise calculation, and the exploitation of human error. One man, one ridge, one misjudged strike, and the echoes would resonate far beyond this moment. Some lessons are written in smoke and steel, others in silence. The enemy would remember, reevaluate, adjust. The U.S. forces would continue informed by data observation and experience. But the story of the ridge, the unseen sniper, and the misjudged confidence would endure, in memory, in record, in the fabric of military history. And as the fog lifted, as the valley breathed, as the ridge settled into quiet once more, one question lingered. What if they hadn't underestimated? What if patience and precision had been ignored? Every shadow, every angle, every unseen observer a reminder that in war, certainty is fragile, confidence is fleeting, and misjudgment is lethal. The next story begins where the last echo faded. A new ridge, a new observer, a new moment of misjudged assumption. The battlefield continues. History waits for no one. And yet the echoes of one misjudged strike remain. Long after the rifles fall silent, long after the fog dissipates, long after the human heartbeat steadies,